I was happening, y'all. It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and a lot more rumors and reports, especially around the NFL draft that is coming up. Of course, I will be live streaming the first round on Thursday, the second and third rounds on Friday, and at the very least, the fourth and fifth rounds on Saturday. So make sure you pull up for those. The live streams are already scheduled, so go to those and make sure you set a reminder there. And I will, of course, also be live streaming this upcoming Sunday in a couple of days for us to talk draft together. But today, we're talking about some major reports that have come out. First of all, the Washington Commanders will not draft cornerback Joey Porter. That's coming from John Keim himself, and he's saying it with certainty. So he knows something. We're going to dive into that. Also, it's been reported that the Commanders plan on signing running back Jerrick McKinnon, ex-Chiefs running back, bring him over with Eric Bieniemy if they don't go running back at an early enough round in this upcoming draft. Also, wide receiver Curtis Samuel changed his jersey number, and it's actually pretty insane how much money he had to pay to do it. And then also, why is this Washington Commanders sale taking so long? We're going to dive into all of that and more, but before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Like I already mentioned a little bit earlier, and like I've been saying in all of my videos, make sure you pull up for this Sunday Commanders call-in show live stream. Is going to be very draft centered. We're going to do mock drafts together. I'm going to have the phone lines open, of course, for y'all to call in and you voice your opinions. You ask whatever questions you may have. Put us on any sleepers you may have that you want the Commanders to draft. Anything you want to talk about, make sure you call in on Sunday for that. And without further ado, let's get it. All right, so John Keim reported it himself on the possibility of drafting a corner at 16th overall. He said, quote, "It won't be Joey Porter Jr., unquote." And then somebody on Twitter said, "No one knows that for sure, not even Keim." And then Keim tweeted back himself, "Feel pretty good on this one," with a shrug with it. Like John Keim is not playing. I don't exactly know what he's heard, but again, guys like John Keim that are very close to the organization, I mean, basically our direct messenger from Rivera to the fans, one of the most trustworthy sources that there can be other than talking to Rivera and Martin Mayhew directly to them yourself as a fan. The fact that he said that means he knows something. I mean, the fact that he even replied to that tweet and let him know, like, nah, like for real, they're not taking Joey Porter. And that can mean two things. That can mean that we already know, just based on what other teams plan on doing, that Joey Porter won't make it to us, and or even if Joey Porter is available at 16, they don't plan on taking him. And with that level of confidence, it sounds like that they don't plan on taking him even if he does make it to 16. And there could be an argument that, yeah, Joey Porter's more of a man cover corner. We want to run a lot more zone, so guys like Deonte Banks fit our scheme very well. I already did a video breaking down how the Commanders apparently really like Kelee Ringo, and I can kind of see that, because if you want to run a lot of cover 3, which Jack Del Rio likes to do, you can kind of transform Kelee Ringo into a zone cover corner. So there are better fits out there, and then Christian Gonzalez can play whatever he wants. Man coverage, zone coverage, with length and hips like that. He's extremely scheme versatile, but at the same time, he's not making it to 16. I highly doubt it, but there's a chance. Then you also have Devon Witherspoon, who excels in zone coverage as well, can play man. But Joey Porter is definitely primarily a man cover corner, so I can see why the Commanders may not exactly want him. I like Joey Porter, but I don't like him more than Christian Gonzalez or Devon Witherspoon, so this makes sense. And again, the fact that John Keim is saying it with this much confidence leaves me to believe that he's definitely heard something from Rivera himself. And for him to say it with that level of confidence, it sounds like John Keim may have asked Rivera, so like, what do you looking at corner? Like, are you looking at Joey Porter potentially? And it sounds like he got an H-no from Ron Rivera with the way that he said with confidence they will not be taking Joey Porter. You know, Rivera and Martin Mayhew do everything they can to keep their cards as close to their chest as possible, to not let anybody know what their draft preferences are, so that teams don't strategize against them and use that against them. And so for us to know for a fact that we're not taking Joey Porter in this draft, there's something there. I don't know what happened in meetings when we met with them at the combine. Maybe they just didn't like him. I don't know. It seems like off the field wise, he does a lot of great things. He does charity and all of that type of stuff. He comes from NFL pedigree. You know, his father is Joey Porter, longtime NFL player. So I don't exactly know what it is, why this is first of all, the only player that we've heard a definitive no on. We don't have a definitive no for anybody else at 16th overall. Even a potential 7th rounder, we haven't heard no, the Commanders are not taking him in the 1st round. Joey Porter is the only player that it sounds like for a fact we won't take. So it's just like, what did he do that was so bad? Or what did John Com hear from Ron Rivera and those guys that we knows for sure, 100% fact that we will not be taking Joey Porter? It's a really interesting situation. And what makes it even more interesting is that, again, I just did a video last night on all of the top mock drafters, all of the NFL Network, Sports Illustrated, expert opinions, all of their final mock drafts leading up to the draft right now. And there were like 12 players from all of these different websites and expert analysts and things like that. And the only player that came up more than once was Joey Porter. And he didn't even just come up 2 times. He came up 3 times out of 12 mock drafts. That's insane. Everybody else, Perez Johnson Jr., Deontay Banks, Cam Sims, Bijan Robinson, John Michael Schmitz, Broderick Jones, Dalton Kincaid, all only came up once. And then there are so many players that I want to take with the 16th overall pick that didn't come up. And Joey Porter came up 3 times. So these guys must not have good insight on what the Commanders plan on doing. They must just be going off of what they feel is the best fit. But again, for reasons I've already stated, Joey Porter is not the best fit out of this draft. You could argue he's not even a top 5, top 7 cornerback best fit for this team. I still like him. I think he's going to end up being a good corner at the NFL level. But fit-wise, Deontay Banks, Julius Brents after the 1st round make even more sense than Joey Porter. And again, it's just so interesting because 3 out of 12 mock drafts have us taking Joey Porter, and every other player is only selected once. And again, there's so many players, so many talented guys that I would love for us to get, like Darnell Wright, Perez Johnson Jr., guys like that aren't even mocked to us once by any NFL media outlet or expert analyst or anything like that. So that's just wild, man. This is a really crazy situation. It sounds like all of these mock drafts are already wrong, basically. Next up, it's being rumored that the Commanders are interested in signing former Chiefs running back Jerrick McKinnon if they don't address the position in the draft. Now, of course, they end up taking a running back like the 6th or 7th round. Maybe they would still feel the need to get Jerrick McKinnon as a veteran, but it sounds like we're more than likely just going to wait till after the draft to address running back. Again, I feel like Antonio Gibson, if anything, should gain a larger role. I feel like Curtis Samuel should be utilized more by the offense, and there's only one ball to go around with this receiving group, with these tight ends, all of that type of stuff. And Brian Robinson still has to get his carries as well, so I'm not even exactly sure where Jerrick McKinnon fits into this equation, because we're looking for a 3rd down back. Antonio Gibson's like, look at me, I can be that guy. I literally was a receiver in college, and you've seen how filthy I get with the ball in my hand out in space. And I agree, I love Antonio Gibson. I really hope we don't do him wrong. I hope Eric Bieniemy sees his talent and utilizes it. Jerrick McKinnon would be a nice replacement for like a J.D. McKissic directly, but at the end of the day, it seems like J.D. McKissic was getting phased out of the offense under Scott Turner even before the 2nd neck injury that took him out for the rest of the season. Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, and you can even include Curtis Samuel, deserve to be fed the ball so much that we don't really need a 3rd prominent running back. That's your 2-headed monster, and we can have somebody as depth in case there's an injury, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a pass catching back specifically. But either way, I don't really see us going running back early in this draft at all. If we do, I think 6th round at the soonest, and then if we don't, I can see us bringing in Jerrick McKinnon. But again, for reasons I've already stated, I'm not expecting us to bring him in and he's gonna just have this big role in the offense like J.D. McKissic did. I feel like if anything, it should be even less featured. Even though he is a proven veteran, again, I want Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson to get the ball as much as possible. And you still got to feed Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, receiving and running, and Jahan Dotson, and these tight ends. So we'll see how this goes, man. But it's just too many mouths to feed right now. Now, of course, you add Jerrick McKinnon to your roster, you get better technically. But it's just like, where does he fit in with all of this? And Eric Bieniemy, being familiar with him, bringing another Chiefs player with him, I can see that being a very realistic thing that happens after after the draft. Do not be surprised. It's rumored, it's not reported, but it makes a lot of sense. And these rumors have been going around for a few weeks now. This is like the second or third time I've heard this rumor come from a different source. Next up, the Commanders wide receiver Curtis Samuel is switching his jersey number from 10 to number 4. Remember, Samuel Cosme wore number 4 in college at Ohio State, but because Taylor Heinicke was wearing number 4, he couldn't get it. But now that Taylor Heinicke's gone, he was able to switch from the number 10 that he's had since he's been here back to the number 4 that he wanted to be all along. But it's really interesting though, because remember, if you let the NFL know at least a year in advance that you plan to switch jersey numbers, there's no buyout mandate. You can do it for free. But because there isn't a 1-year notice, because I mean, Curtis Samuel didn't necessarily know that Taylor Heinicke was going to end up going to the Falcons. That's not really his fault, but he really wants to switch numbers. He wants to switch numbers now. So per NFL rules, a player has to buy out the existing inventory of his old jersey from distributors if he wants to change the same season that he's letting the NFL know. So that is crazy. That's a lot of money Curtis Samuel is putting into switching his jersey number. This is not free. It's getting taxed. It's pretty serious, but I think he'll look really good in that number 4. Nice throwback to his Ohio State days, and hopefully he can go out there and be his Ohio State self. Again, I think, speaking to Eric Bieniemy earlier, and like I said, I want Antonio Gibson and Curtis Samuel being involved in the offense a lot more. I think with Eric Bieniemy, he will be. Ron Rivera has already said several times since we've hired Eric Bieniemy that one of the main reasons they brought in Eric Bieniemy, it was his ability to get the ball in the playmakers' hands regardless of what's going on. Doesn't matter. I hated the excuses that, okay, Terry McLaurin's our best receiver, so obviously the opposing defense is going to game plan against them and double team them if they have to and things like that. So Scott Turner would basically just avoid even trying to target Terry McLaurin because of that. Eric Bieniemy's not going to do that. Terry McLaurin's a great playmaker. He's getting the ball. Curtis Samuel, the same thing. John Dotson, the same thing. I'm hoping he feels the same with Antonio Gibson, like I said earlier. But either way, back to my main point, I think Curtis Samuel is going to have a breakout season. His contract will end soon, and I think this is a time for him to go out there and earn that big time money, hopefully from us. Hopefully we end up re-signing him long term, but I can see him having the type of season to where we just don't have the money to pay him. He ends up leaving. We'll see. Maybe he'll take a hometown discount if we look really good. If we make the playoffs, Sam Howell looks like a franchise quarterback, and he wants to stay with this winning formula, stay with his Ohio State teammate and Terry McLaurin, ex-roommate even, you know, maybe we'll get a hometown discount. But at the end of the day, priority number 1 first, change jersey number and ball out. Don't spend all that money on a jersey number change and then just go out there and not do anything with it. I mean, if anything, go out there and earn that money back potentially by balling out this year and then getting that next big contract, and then you paying all that money to change the jersey number will just look like pennies. And then lastly, AJ Perez put out an article on frontofficesports.com basically breaking down why this Commander sale from Snyder to Josh Harris is taking so long. He said the NFL has seen Josh Harris's proposal to purchase the Washington Commanders for $6.05 billion, and the money is in place. For weeks, the Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils co-owner has been the longtime legitimate contender for the franchise. All that is left is for his group to be officially taped as the winning bidder by Commanders owner Daniel Snyder. As Front Office Sports reported earlier this month, that was expected to occur before the start of the next NFL's owners meetings on May 22nd, although there are signs a decision could hit sooner. That's really interesting. A third limited partner in the Harris Group has emerged, FOS confirmed. Mark Ein is the executive chairman of Virginia-based security firm Castle Systems and the founder of 2 private equity firms. Ein, whose involvement was first reported by WUSA 9, joins billionaire Mitchell Rails and Magic Johnson in Harris's effort, and a source told FOS to expect at least a dozen limited partners. The NFL cutoff is 24. That's interesting. I didn't know that. The max minority partners you could have involved in the purchase of an NFL team is 24. They have 17 outside of Josh Harris being the main front runner, so there are 18 people involved in total. The larger the group, the longer the league's vetting process is expected to take. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. Rob Walton had only 3 limited partners when the Walmart owner agreed to purchase the Denver Broncos for $4.65 billion, but it took 64 days for the NFL owners to vote to approve Walton's group. The fact that Harris shared the proposal isn't expected to alter the timeline. A source said that the practice of sharing before an official announcement has been common for many years. So we'll see how this goes, but AJ Harris is trying to just give you insight on what's taking so long. And again, most importantly, we're waiting for that owners meeting in May for it to officially be voted on. And hopefully the NFL does everything on their end so that by the time it gets to the NFL owners, we can just go ahead and vote on it, approve it, and the deal is done. Again, I already did a report on it, but the NFL has already said there are only minor issues with the proposal that Josh Harris and his side needs to change and fix. But other than that, nothing major. We should be good to go by the time the league owners vote on it in May. It's going to be after the draft, sadly, but it's going to be sooner, hopefully, rather than later. We'll see. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. And as always, man, I appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. Let me know how you feel about the Joey Porter news, because that is crazy. Let me know how you feel about the Jerrick McKinnon possibility after the draft. That's pretty crazy as well. Let me know how you feel about Curtis Samuel changing his jersey number. Do you think it was a good idea? Do you think he'll look better in number 4? Do you think he's going to earn that money right back with this next payday if he balls out this upcoming season? And then let me know how you feel about why this sale is taking as long as it does. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.